Good morning. How are you guys? Good morning. Good morning. Back again with an important an important factor, an important content. Be aware of who you leave your children with. This is a sad story, guys, but what can we say? Some of these obstacles, some of these sad story, some of these catch-22 find their way at times in our community. Now, guys, this is a troubling and disturbing story. This is a case of murder in a children aids building. Let me refrain. Murder in a children aids building, guys. And this story is rather sad, troubling, disturbing. But what can we say? I am going to unpack the story for you guys greatly and neatly. And then you guys tell me in the comment section, or you guys tell me what kind of disturbing and troubling story I'm bringing forth to you guys. And you guys can have your say. You guys can leave your comment, and then we also can speak about it greatly on another day, or anytime that I forward again with a important topic. Now, guys, it's troubling. All right. And what I mean, it's troubling. It's troubling. So we're going to leave it here and say happy Thursday. But guys, I'm going to unpack the story. This story, like I said, is children aids crime scene. These are two friends, basically, that was in children aids. They met each other about 12 years old, grew up in children aids, and end up, one of the friend still end up have a children aid case with her friend, with her child. So I'm going to give you guys an example. They basically, I'm your friend. Me and you grew up in children aids because, like I told you guys, about the significant impact that children aids had on the Black community and indigenous community by apprehending those children way back. Then you have a situation where moms decided, lacking, slacking, neglect or some sort, and then you have children aids will come and move that child. Then you have other cases where moms or dads or families are abusing the children, so therefore, children aids will have to step in. But nevertheless, guys, on this topic rather, me and, say for example, me and you, one person met in children aids. We grow on our own download of being in children aids, so we end up being friends. We continue that friendship until we end up being adults and end up having our own children. So because we walk together in children aid situation, been in children aid situation, and all of that, guys, I decided to still be friend with just you, like I said, example, one of you guys. Then we end up having children, and I end up still trusting you, although I grew up in children aids, and I'm using myself as an example. I haven't been in children aids, but I'm just saying, although I have been in children aids and my child don't have children aids on them, but my friend who I grew up in children aids had children aids on her and still going for a visit with children aids. So that day, guys, I decided to give the lady, Emily, my child, and Emily decided to go and bring my child to the children aids building for her visit with her child that are still in care. So follow me, walk with me. The question becomes, if I am your friend and you have children aids and you don't have your children in care, and I decide to let you babysit my child, is that a good thing? If I have my child and you have children aids in your care and you have to go and visit your child, would I allow you to babysit my child and bring my child to the children aids building? Okay, it's almost again. If I give you my child to babysit and you end up bringing my child to see your boyfriend at a jail cell, is that a good thing? Anyways, guys, I'm talking too much. Let me unpack this story. This is a disturbing trouble a story, but we're gonna unpack it and unravel it and see where we can go with this story. So again, murder in the children aids building. Murder in the CAS building. Say who? Allegedly, because this trial is going on right now. Okay, guys? So I had to come and unpack it so early in the morning. Well, late actually, because you guys know that my shift has changed. So if you guys haven't seen me for a little bit on the live, you guys know that my shift has changed. So right now I'm wrestling with myself, wrestling with my phone to come live because most of the time I'm exhausted, people. Nevertheless, let's unpack the story greatly and gravely. All right? A security guard who was working at the Children Aid Society building on Isabella Street on December 2nd, 2023. Now the trial has started, people, like now. Testify at the second-degree murder trial for Shauna Day, cousin Emily, about the injuries he observed, okay? He observed on a boy who was with her that day. Speaking through a Punjabi interpreter Friday, Singh said he first saw cousin Emily around 4:45 p.m. That's in the Children Aid's building to see her own child with somebody else's child that she's babysitting. As she was exiting the woman's washroom with a baby stroller, Singh said cousin Emily asked for a blanket from an indoor play area. The child was with her, but he was fully covered. He was in a baby stroller, said Singh. The baby face was covered, but I could see his legs. He said he and cousin Emily went to play area to look for a blanket, but could not find it. So the question becomes, if the baby face is covered, how can you say that you saw the baby with a circle looking like that, he was hurt and there was no blood coming from it? I thought his face was covered. I don't know if this is going to end up in a hung jury, not guilty or guilty, but a lot of times when we are on the trial, we found them guilty even if we have mental illness. Seriously. So my question again, he said in this whole allegation, people, the security guard is the witness. So I'm going to read this part again for you guys, and I want you guys to leave that part in your brain and let it sit down for a second, all right? So hear me out. Speaking through a Punjabi interpreter Friday, Singh said he first saw cousin Emily around 4:45 p.m. as she was exiting the woman's washroom with a baby stroller. Singh said cousin Emily asked for a blanket from an indoor play area. The child was with her, but he was fully covered. He was in a baby stroller, said Singh, and the baby face was covered, but I could see his legs. Stick a pin right there. Let that sit in your brain for a second. All right? Remember, in the allegation, in trial, the security guard said he saw the baby's head, and the baby head looked like he had a blunt force trauma on his head, and it looked like the blood ain't coming out. That's what the security guard is testifying. The security guard is also testifying that after Emily came out of the washroom with the baby, he went into the washroom and saw blood. Remember good. Make that sit in your brain for a second. Let's continue. He said he and cousin Emily went to play area to look for a blanket, but could not find one. All right? Singh said he then went to the 7th floor at the CAS building to look for a worker to help him find a blanket, but was unsuccessful. He said when he returned to the main floor, so this is a Children Aid building, government building, and they don't have extra blankets. Make that make sense for me. And you guys are out here apprehending people's children and letting people come and visit their children in Children Aid's building, but you guys don't have extra hats, extra socks, extra blanket, extra diaper? Say who? What? But anyways, not my business. Oh no. Or the mother should have her own blanket. But like I said, if your child is in care, would you have blanket? And the next question becomes, how long her child was in care for her not to have a blanket for her friend baby that she's babysitting? So liberty come through carelessness. Nevertheless, let's unpack. He said when he returned to the main floor, he noticed that cousin Emily was again exiting the washroom. Singh said he told cousin, who had identified herself and identified as child as Quinn, to leave the building because there were no workers around. Singh testified it was then he noticed an injury on the boy's forehead. So the second time that he saw her coming out the washroom, I guess the child is not covered up this time. He ended up seeing a mark on the child's forehead. Remember, he said in the prayer that the child was covering up. But what we got to understand, after he went upstairs on the 7th floor to go get a blanket, he never got a blanket. He basically came back down. All right? He identified herself and identified the child as Quinn, right? To leave the building because there's no workers. Singh testified he noticed an injury on the boy's forehead. Okay? Remember, he left and he went on the 7th floor to go get a blanket. And he said when he returned to the main floor, he noticed the woman, cousin Emily, was again exiting the washroom. So therefore, she went to the washroom twice. I'll give you guys the 1 second. While I'm talking, maybe I should give you guys a picture. All right, so boom. There's the washroom. There she entering the washroom, guys. I'm gonna give you guys this case like Matlock. And I'm also gonna be ghetto lawyer on top of this as well. So let's stick up in there. Let me stick up in right here now. Thank you guys for forwarding. Thank you guys for attending this content. Thank you guys for end up being in the audience. I appreciate you guys. I know I haven't been around, but I told you guys, if you guys don't see me, I am working my shift change. Remember my shift change morning, my shift change afternoon, then I go on nights. Yes, guys? So me busy like a bee. You hear it in my voice, so me tired. Night shift a beat me bad. Yo, night shift a beat me bad. Okay, so more time I come home, I'm exhausted, right? Remember, you gotta work out here. Utilize your social insurance number out here because I want to retire early. Yeah, man. You understand what I'm saying? And I want to buy the good things. Yeah, man. Right? Stick up in there. So there's Emily going in the washroom. Not once, but twice. Okay? That's what the security guard says. And as you can see, she's going in the washroom. Now, who are we talking about? This is Miss Emily. Who are we talking about? Who is the victim? The beautiful baby. The beautiful baby. The who? The beautiful baby. Who is the key witness in this case? The security guard. Who is the witness in the case? The security guard. That's him on his way to court. This is the security guard that day in the building. Feel me? Follow me? Feel me? Follow me. All right, people? So let's break down the story one more time again. So hear me out. Cousin Emily, she and her friend was met in Children Aids. Say who? Her and her friend met in Children Aids. They were part of Children Aids organization. In other words, they were taken from their mom or dad and end up in the custody of Children Aids. Follow me good enough. Walk with me hand in hand. Hold my hands like me and you going to the park like we're friends from high school, from kindergarten days. So I want you to hold my hand. Cha la 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 la. We're going to the park. Cha la 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 la. Like hold my hand, don't let go. All right? Because if you let go, you're gonna miss out the story. So hold on to my hands, walk with me. Whoever can hold on to my hands, hold on to my shirt. Whoever can hold on to my shirt, then follow in the line. Down the line we go. So this is Emily. Emily and her friend, the baby, this baby don't belong to Emily. You see that girl that I just showed, her name is Emily. This baby don't belong to Emily. This baby belong to Emily's friend, Chano. All right? This day when you see Emily, Emily is pushing a stroller, not her baby, but Emily's friend baby. I want you guys to understand it, man. So this is the question. If you have a friend and you met your friend in Children Aids, growing up in Children Aids, remember I told you guys, there was mass Children Aids situation in here, in my country, where black kids were being apprehended from their home and indigenous children were apprehended from their home. I'm going to give you guys fact checks. Facts check. I don't like to come and talk. And I'm not going to say allegedly with that part because it's in the news. It came in the news. All right, people? So nevertheless, so that day, why is Emily at the building? What building is that? The Children Aids building. Joshua, good morning. Okay, I know you're lost for words, Joshua, but nevertheless, hold on to your lost for words. You know we've been saying that word, lost for words, for 7-8 years now, almost, right? But nevertheless, Joshua. So right now you saw that girl in the building, guys. She's there to visit her own child. Come now. She's there to visit her own child. All right, let me unpack. Hold on to my hand again. That baby in the stroller is not her baby. That baby in the stroller is her friend baby. That day, that girl went to Children Aids to go see her own baby. So follow me. Her own child is in Children Aids custody, but she was allowed to babysit. So is there a rule says, if my child is in Children Aids custody, am I allowed to babysit? I'm not sure. I don't see there's no rules like that. I was looking if there's a rules like that. But because of this case, the rules going to be amended. Remember, the law is not going to change, There's going to be amend to the law that if you have a serious case with children aids and your child is in custody, you're not supposed to be out here babysitting anyone's child. Is that so? You think that's fair? If you have a children aids case, should you be out here babysitting other children? I am not sure. Right? Remember, at times, you can have children aids case way back when and you still can be a foster mom. Remember good. Remember to be a foster mom more time. They do a children aids check on you, like how you can do a criminal check on you. A background check of in your criminal record. Remember that? You could go and do a children aids check if you have children aids and you still have a file. I know in my country, a lot of times when children aids come to minorities' home, even if the case is closed, you still have a file for 10 years until that child reach 18. Yeah, you understand? But nevertheless, I am going too long in the story. But nevertheless, shorthand story. So that day, she went to go visit her own child in children aid custody. She's not allowed to have her own child at home. She has to have visitation rights in the children aids building. That's how you know how this case is serious, because if remember, a lot of people have children aids cases, but the child is allowed to go home with them for the weekend and come back. They're allowed to have visitation rights. I could name out more than one case where a mom and dad have a children aid situation, but their child is allowed to go home with them on the weekend and come back to the group home. Yes? All right. So right now, this case, Emily, who's pushing the stroller, went to that building that day to go have a supervised visit with her own baby. The child in the stroller is not her baby. Right? It's her friend baby. So the question becomes, did her friend who she met in children aids, grew up in children aids together, knew that she had a children aid file? Did her friend played deaf, played dumb, and still gave her the child to go visit her child in children aids care? I am baffled, I am dumbfounded, and I'm lost for words, as Joshua shout. If your friend is going to children aids to go visit her friend, her baby, supervised visit that she can bring home, what are you making her bring in your baby for? What were you doing so that you had to give your friend that have a children aid situation worse than yours, your baby? And also friendship go. When your friend is wrong and strong, you can't make her right, bruh. So when your friend is a little bit careless, you don't leave the child with her. When the friend is a little bit careless, you cannot leave your baby with some of these girls out here, especially if they're not taking care of their children. Remember, liberty comes through carelessness. Nevertheless. So that day, Emily was babysitting someone's child, and she don't have her child. Her child is in children aids custody. That day, when you see Emily went to go visit her own child in children aid custody. Make sense? Make that make sense for me. So the next question becomes, if the friend who gave Emily the child, that means say that friend could have went to a jailhouse to go visit her jailbird boyfriend, allegedly. I'm just making up a scenario, and then it would be okay for the baby to go behind the prison wall, go see jailbirds. A lot of you moms out here doing that, bringing all the children to jailhouse to see man, and don't know those things are catch 22. Those things are like curse. People, what is so disturbing about this case? Let me tell you. There's no way I'm going to grow up in children aids. Meet a friend in children aids. We come out now as in adults, have children together, and I'm allowed to keep my child, but my friend can't keep her child. My friend has a supervised visit to see her child. Then I would take my child and give it to my friend? Something wrong somewhere. But I guess when you trust people, you trust people. But when you have a situation like that Emily child is still in custody and she has to go to a building supervised to see that child, you don't even leave her with a dog. You don't even leave her with a dog. Sorry, Emily, I have to say, girl, I know this is your trial, but I wouldn't leave you with a dog, bro. Not even a fish. Seriously. You understand? Because something is wrong, when you grow up in children aids, live in children aids, know the heartbreaking stories of black people in children aids, you shouldn't make children aids reach you. But we know, again, people, let me shout out this. We know, again, in the black community, Children aids game is not usually fair when it comes to us. Our children is more to be faster to be apprehended. We're more to get more visits. We're more to be in court fighting. Our children is more to go to Crown Ward. In my country, 6 months to a year, your child gone to Crown Ward in children aid custody like now. Okay, people? So I'm bringing out all of those factors. Jump back to the story. So I want to give you the story again. Emily, who has the stroller, that's not her baby. Emily, who's babysitting, is babysitting for her friend that she grew up with in children aid from the age of 12. So they were 12 years old, met in children aids, grow up in children aids. You know, when it comes to children aids, they release you about 17, 18. You could start run away by 16, and then sometimes they look for you. Sometimes they can't find you. Sometimes you end up being in the system lost. So when you release, they end up being friends and end up being adults and end up having children. The only bad luck is that Emily couldn't keep her child out of children aids, although she lived in children aids, but the other friend could have. All right? So that's how Emily right now there at children aids with the baby babysitting that day to go see her own child in children aids custody. Until now, I keep on saying that I can't believe that your friend is going to go see her child in supervised visit children aids and you're making her tag along your baby along. What? All them something in a curse. Ja, no star. But nevertheless, so let's continue to unpack. Remember, she's asking for a blanket, and that's what's so disturbing for me. Emily has a child in custody, and Emily don't have a blanket. So Emily never came there with a blanket. Emily never had a blanket for her own child that is in children aid custody. And the next question becomes, how long they took away this woman baby while she don't even have a blanket to spare for her friend baby that she a babysit. All them carelessness, yeah. Summertime woman have babies a stroller with blanket. Springtime people have stroller with blanket, and even winter. Oh, anyways, nevertheless. So what happened? The security guard, like I said, 1 second. The security guard went upstairs on the 7th floor to go get a blanket. When he came down from the 7th floor, he saw Emily, her, first time went in the bathroom, and then the second time he saw her coming out the bathroom. So this is twice now Emily went in the bathroom, come out the bathroom. Yes? All right. Walk with me. Singh testified, the security guard. All right. He said when he returned to the main floor looking for the blanket, he noticed cousin Emily was again exiting out the washroom. Singh said he told cousin Emily, who had identified herself and identified the child as Quinn, to leave the building because there was no workers around. All right? Singh, the security guard, testified it was when he noticed her injuries on the boy's forehead. Remember, the baby boy died from a blunt force trauma. It's a murder trial going on right now because they're basically saying she went to the bathroom, beat him with a blunt force trauma, object, and kill him almost in the children aids building. They're saying that the crime end up in the washroom in the government building. Okay, guys? That's how troubling this case is. Seriously. Remember, she never hurt him while she babysitting him at home. Well, we don't know. Because we don't know what she did to him when she was with him more than she go here now. Because if you could under camera, under security watcher, you could go in the washroom allegedly and beat that child and hurt that child. I don't know what you would do when you're by yourself with that child. Seriously. But these are all alleged because the trial is going on now and they haven't found her guilty. But nevertheless, all right? Singh testified it was when he noticed an injury on the boy's forehead. It was like a circle. Blood was not coming out. I asked her what happened to the child, and she told me that the outside of the building, he was playing with another kid and then got hurt. Jaja. Singh added, then he asked cousin Emily if he could help her with first aid or to get an ambulance, and she said no. Jaja. My God, oh. The security guard said he was concerned about the injury, which why he asked her if she needed help. The injury was already heard that cousin Emily went to the CAS building with the 3-year-old Everson Billette Jr., also known as Quinn, for a scheduled visit with her own son. So like I said, I am not lying. She went to go and visit her own son at the building that day. All right? Shania John Quinn's mother has already testified that she left Quinn with cousin Emily for the weekend. The two met as a foster sister when John was 12, and John said cousin Emily was someone she trusted. So what did I say? They met in children aids as friends and grew up as children aid sisters. Jaja. All right? The prosecution alleges that cousin Emily, who was 22 at the time, took Quinn into the washroom several hours after visiting her son at the CAS and brutally assaulted him. The following day, first responders were called to an apartment. So remember, after the child got hurt, the child never went to the walk-in clinic, child never went to the hospital, child never went nowhere. What happened is, it seems like the child was unconscious at the apartment. An ambulance was called. The child is not breathing. The child ended up dead from blunt force trauma. You hear me good? Nevertheless, the following day, first responders were called to the apartment at Dawes Road. Cousin Emily lived after Quinn had stopped breathing. So the question becomes, did he have internal bleeding? The question becomes, did she beat him some more allegedly when she brought him home? What occurred between the day she left children aids and the next day? What occurred then? Did she beat him some more? Did he have internal bleeding from the blunt force trauma that occurred in the washroom that we can't see on the camera? Nevertheless, an autopsy revealed the cause of death was a blunt force trauma to the head. So the question becomes, did she drop the child? Blunt force trauma means that you hit somebody in the head with something. So did she drop the child, or did she take the child and knock his head against the wall in the washroom? I am not sure. Let's continue. Crown Prosecutor Rochelle asking if he noticed whether cousin were wearing pants either before and after she went into the washroom, in the woman's washroom with Quinn. Singh said he didn't remember. Singh testified he only recalled that Quinn was not wearing pants. The lawyer asked if that concerned Singh. He said it didn't. Follow me. When she came there that day, you can see. When she came that day, the first picture, you could see her in her pants. When she returned asking about a blanket, she had no pants. So was this a mental situation? Was it cold outside, that cold that she needed pants? Or because she took off the pants, she has a tights under? Because some people have on like some tight short, like some vagina riders that it looks like underwear, but it's really shorts. So because she has on that long black and white sweater coat situation, is it perhaps she had on a little shorts that nobody know, like a bikini shorts? I am not sure, because one part on the camera, it shows that she had on pants, and then one part again, she had on no pants. Let's continue. I was just worried about the injury, he explained. Singh said cousin Emily and Quinn left the building later around 5:45 p.m. But he didn't let her in because there was no worker available. The lawyer asked if he smelled any alcohol on her breath when he was speaking with her, or if she was slurring her words. Singh said he didn't. She was speaking fine, he added. Singh said he wrote an incident report. So what's so disturbing, people? That day, the security guard went in motion and wrote an incident report because he was concerned. And that's what's going to knock this girl right now in court. Because that day, when the security guard saw the bump on the child's head, he documented it. Also, when he went in the washroom and found the blood, he documented it as well. All right, let's continue. Singh said he wrote an incident report about the injury he had seen on the boy and decided to go into the woman's washroom after cousin Emily Quinn left. So as a security guard, as a male security guard, are you allowed to go in the washroom in the first place? Whether nobody's in there or not? How you know somebody wasn't in the bathroom? Only her? I find that very odd and strange. But I guess he's doing an investigation. And guess what now? And if you're going to investigate, why you never call a children aids worker? You're trying to tell me, say, this is a children aids building. Government building where children are apprehended. Where children are supervised for their mom and their parents to come and see. And you couldn't call one of the workers to follow you in the washroom? You couldn't call one of the workers to say that the baby is injured? Oh, I forgot. No worker was there. What? In a children's aids building? Okay, government. Let's continue. So he decided to go in the washroom. On the floor and on the toilet seat, there was blood. And it seemed like she had wiped it, he said. So is it perhaps she had her period that day? If you claim that you saw the bump on the little boy's head and no blood is not coming out, when she banged him in the washroom, is it perhaps blood came out of his mouth? Or is it perhaps that she was on her menstruation period and she never wiped off the toilet seat properly? I am not sure. Because here you are now gone in the washroom, gonna go turn detective, but never called the police, never called the children aid to say, hey, come on, that girl who came to visit her child have a next child that perhaps she's not supposed to have, and the child has a big bump on his forehead. You never did all of that, but nevertheless. On the floor on the toilet seat, there was blood, and it seemed like she had wiped it, he said. The jury was shown photographs from the accessible stall taken by Singh. He even went there to go take a picture, Jaja, that appeared to show blood. When he testified, he took to attach to his report. So not only that he documented, he took a picture of the blood and go put it in his report. Never called the police, never raised the flag of the children aids. Because remember, if you're a security guard, you're supposed to document. It's only so much you can go. But if you turn police and went into the woman washroom where you're not supposed to as a man, and you went there go see blood and stuff, and you observe a bump on the little boy's head, why you never reported to somebody in the building way before the next day when she had to call the ambulance? All these things. So you play detective but never play detective right. Anyways, let's continue. The jury was shown the photograph from the accessible stall taken by Singh that appeared to show blood. When he testified, he took the attached to his report. During the cross-examination, defense counsel Jacob, the lawyer, asked if Singh thought cousin Emily was acting strangely. But I would, because here you go, you don't go. Here you are, came to the building with no blanket, but you're asking for a blanket. And here you go, left from your visit and came back around 7 o'clock again with no pants, asking for a blanket. So something is strange somewhere. Something is very strange for me, the way I see it, but nevertheless. Was she acting shady because she's trying to cover up the little boy? Or was she acting shady because she really never had a blanket because her child was apprehended in children's aids for a while, so maybe she never had any baby clothes? Because you have some woman, once your child is locked up in children's aids somewhere, they don't buy anything. Why should I buy something when children is taking care of the children? Some people are like that, right? And you have some people, not because the child is in custody, every time they go and visit, they bring a new shoe, a new hat, a new clothes, and all of these good things, right? Nevertheless, let's continue. It was December 2nd. It was cold outside, like I told you guys, because that's what I'm saying. If she came back after 7 without no pants, then something has to be mentally wrong. Because what would possess somebody that wear no pants? But again, you have people again, like I see in my country, in my neighborhood, when they're going to the gym, they have no pants. When they're coming from the gym, they have no pants. Even my own kids, when they're ready to go in their car, guys, they don't even wear coats. So I don't know. You have people running in and out their cars with no jacket, no pants, just shorts. But guys, this is strange. She came with pants that day and came back with no pants, and it was winter, December. Anyways, it was cold outside, but she took the child out wearing only diaper with her bare legs, right? Stillman asked. So you see? So she came back, guys, and now the child is bare legs and no clothes. And until now, the security guard never flagged the worker. Until now, the security guard never picked up the phone and called the cops. So I don't think the security guard really care. You have some of these folks in society, because their culture is more like not to like the black folks. When they see things like this, they will document it, but nobody really give a shit. Or is it because a lot of times in the black community, we always cry foul? So a lot of people have to be careful what they say to us and what they do to us, because maybe he would have come under scrutiny to say that he's being racist because it's a black girl. We're not sure. Let's continue. The legs were bare, but I can't see anything about the rest. So what did the security guard? He acknowledged First, the first part when he see the child face was covered. And then he only saw the legs. Then the second time he saw the child, he never noticed the mother, the Emily, the babysitter, not wearing any clothes. But he noticed that the child never had any clothes, and it was winter. So when did you decide to call the police when you realized A, child had a bump, no blood was coming out. B, there was blood in the washroom and she wiped it up. C, she was asking for a blanket and out the middle of winter and don't have no blanket for the child. And then all the way to D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. She came back without no pants and the child had on no clothes, only diaper. 1 second, guys. Right? So all of these red flags, but security guard only document these things, never do a shit about it, and the child end up dead the next day. Let's continue. The legs were bare, but I can't say anything about the rest, Singh replied. The lawyer asked Singh, as the prosecution had done earlier, if he noticed whether cousin Emily was wearing pants when she left the Children Aids building. So when she left the Children Aids building, guys, she was wearing pants. When she returned, no pants. I know you said, Miss Lieberman, that you couldn't remember. If I show you some images, perhaps that will help you remember. The video and the camera from inside the lobby of the Children Aids building show cousin Emily and Quinn entering the woman's washroom around 3:30 p.m. When she exited the washroom around 4:45, then people, look how long she was in the washroom. She entered the washroom 3:30 p.m. She exited the washroom at 4:45 p.m. So what occurred in that washroom then? She spent almost an hour in the bathroom, an hour and 15 minutes if I'm not mistaken. She spent almost an hour in the washroom. So she entered the washroom at 3:30, as you can see, and exited the washroom at 4:45 camera time. Cousin Emily was bare-legged and appeared not wearing any pants. Yeah, here. Singh said he had noticed the cousin Emily was not wearing any pants. Singh said he hadn't noticed that cousin Emily was not wearing any pants when she exited the washroom. So something is strange and somewhere. So here you are, can see the stroller, but you can't see the person behind the stroller. If you're looking at the stroller, you can see somebody's legs. If somebody's pushing the stroller and you're looking at the stroller, you automatically see mom's legs or babysitter legs the last time I checked. But nevertheless, let's see if this case end up in a hung jury or second degree murder charge. Conviction. 1 second. When she exited the washroom around 4:45, cousin was bare-legged and appeared not to be wearing pants. Singh said he hadn't noticed that cousin Emily was not wearing pants when she exited the washroom. The lawyer also cross-examined Singh about the fact that he testified he could not smell alcohol on cousin Emily's breath. Singh said he was 2.5 to 3 feet away from her when they first went to the playground area to look for the blankets. Cousin Emily has pleaded not guilty to the second-degree murder. Now, guys, let me ask again. If you grew up in Children Aids with a friend from 12 on, and you guys end up being Children Aids sisters, not by blood, but by the system. See it here. I want to show you guys. I want to give you guys the whole fact, or the facts of it. So I'm going to walk with me hand in hand with this case. Remember, Shania John is the mother, the 3-year-old mother. Quintanis, so like I said, Shania is the baby Quinn's mom. Yes? Cousin Emily, it's her friend from Children Aids. So walk with me. Okay? See it here. Shania John, Quinn's mother, has already testified that she left Quinn with her friend, with cousin Emily, for the weekend. The two met as foster sisters when John was 12, and John said cousin Emily was someone she trusted. Bill Clinton said heads not cheating. Okay. Right? All right, guys. So this is Emily. So the question I'm asking you guys again. If I met you in children's age at the age of 12 years old and we grew up to be sisters. Remember, both of them were children's age, Peggy. Call it that. Or custody of children's age greatly. And they met in children's age. And you guys come out now. Remember, in children's age, they release you at the age 17, 18. And you come out now out of children's age and you end up being an adult and you have your own child. And when you hide, your child that has her son, both of you guys end up having boys together. Right? You have a son, she have a son. You guys go off to be mothers. After you guys were living, apprehended by children's age and been in children's age custody for a long time till you guys end up met in children's age at the age of 12. If that was you and you had your child and you realize Emily almost can't keep it together, grew up in children's age, know the rules of children's age, struggling children's age, would you make her babysit that weekend your child if she doesn't have custody of her child? Would you trust her that greatly and deeply to babysit your child that weekend, knowing that her child is in custody of children's age, knowing that she has supervised visit with her own child? Would you have trust her that much to leave her your child and she doesn't have custody of her child? To be honest, I wouldn't. Friends are no friends. It's not everything you trust a friend with. You will go and trust your friend with your life. So you wouldn't trust them with your child if they have a situation like this. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not pointing fingers. These are all, this case is allegedly because there's a trial going on. Nevertheless, guys, not only that, the question we want to ask children's age is this. Since these two black children, Emily and her friend, was in children's age, we know the trauma of not seeing your parents anymore. We know the trauma if your parents don't come and visit you at the children's age building. We know the trauma when your parents fight for you and you end up being crown ward. So what kind of trauma did this girl Emily go through that she could go in the washroom from 3:30, come out at 4:45 and baby end up dead from blunt force trauma? What trauma did she go through? The next question becomes, why did they apprehend Emily's child? Did they apprehend Emily's child for neglect? Did children's age apprehend Emily's child for abuse? Why is Emily's child in the custody that she had to go to children's age that day and visit her own child while babysitting somebody else's child? Nevertheless, let's get to the audio. 1 second. 1 second.
Pushing her close friend's 3-year-old child, Iverson Ballot Jr., also known as...
So the baby's called Iverson, but they call him Quinn, okay? Unpack this story now.
This is video of Chardonnay cousins Emily pushing her close friend's 3-year-old child, Iverson Ballot Jr., also known as Quintani or Quinn, in a baby stroller. It was shot...
It's a little bit short of the video. It's from the news.
Thursday at the second-degree murder trial for cousins Emily. Prosecutors allege she was captured on surveillance video at the Children's Aid Society building on Isabella Street on December 2nd, 2023, taking Quintani into the...
See? She went in the washroom the first time with pants on, purple pants. We identify that. Purple pants, we identify that. Let's back up the video and see if we can see if the baby's covered up the first part. So slowly but surely, look. Eyes on the ground. Let's see. We want to see the stroller.
Her close friend's 3-year-old child, Iverson Ballot Jr. also...
Pause. We saw the child right there. It looks like a red hat. So we don't see the baby's covering with no blanket. Right there. So what did the security guard say Emily's asking for? A blanket. What did the security guard say? The baby was covered up. But does the baby look covered up there? Let's zoom in the camera some more. Does Emily Look like she covered up the baby that time when the baby's going in the washroom. I don't see any covering on the baby. You look like you could see the child's face. Nevertheless, let's continue. And then we could identify that she has on pants. Yes? Let's continue.
Known as Quintani or Quinn, in a baby stroller. It was shown to the jury Thursday at the second-degree murder trial for cousins Emily.
So the first time she went in the washroom, let's back it up again, people. Look. Something is wrong somewhere. Look. First time she's going in, you see her with pants. Look.
Emily pushing her close friend's 3-year-old child, Iverson Ballot Jr., also known as Quintani or Quinn, in a baby stroller. It was shown to
doesn't look like she has on her pants there.
Second-degree murder trial for cousins Emily. Prosecutors allege she was captured on surveillance video at the Children's Aid Society building on Isabella Street on December.
Please don't tell me that woman is a mother. She's a mother. Oh, God. She's a mother. Let me unpack a little bit. Let me give you a little bit of rundown of the story. 1 second. She's a mother. She's a mother. Hold on. She's a mother. And her child is in custody of Children's Aids. And that same building that she went, she was on visit with her own son, but was allowed to babysit her friend that she met in Children's Aid's son that weekend. So that's the question I'm asking. If you know your friend don't have custody of her child, and she has to go to this Children's Aid's building to go get supervised visit of her own son, why would you leave your son with her that weekend? What were you doing that you had to leave that child, not even one day, but the weekend with this girl? Find it very strange and odd. So good question. She's a mother, but her child is in Children's Aid custody. The day when she ended up hurting this child, allegedly, because the trial is going on still now. Okay? Let's finish unpack. When she went in the washroom first, she had on her pants. The second time when she's going in there, you notice she has on no pants. So look, first time she's going in there, she has on a purple pants. Look.
2023, taking Quintani into the washroom before assaulting him. The jury has heard cousins Emily arrived at the CAS building earlier in the day for a supervised visit with her own son and brought trial for cousins Emily.
Let's back it up.
Her close friend's 3-year-old.
When you see her, you saw her with her purple pants on. Then there's one point that you see her with no pants. They said the security guard claimed she went in the bathroom twice. Once when she was having on the pants to look like. Second time when he went on the 7th floor to go get a blanket and she came out the washroom, but he never noticed that she never had on any pants. But the camera picked up that she had on her pants the second time. First time you see her with her purple pants, and then the second time you notice she had on no pants, but it was winter. Not only that, in this allegation, we get to understand the baby had on no clothes either. Let's continue.
Child. Iverson Ballot Jr., also known as Quintani or Quinn.
Second time, no pants. See it there? Second time, no pants. So is it so hot in the Children's Aid's building that she had to take off the pants? Remember, it was December. Remember, she's asking for a blanket. So how long her child was taken in custody while she don't even have an extra blanket to spare for her friend baby that she's babysitting? And what happened? Did the friend just chuck the baby on her that weekend and never left a blanket or 2 blankets? Because how are you supposed to give your child, your baby, and no blanket in winter? So I find that odd and strange. So did the mother pack properly a bag for that child? Did the mother leave blanket and everything for Emily to use on that baby that weekend when she left the baby? I don't know. Both of them live out of Children's Aid. Both of them are coming from Children's Aid, so I don't know. Let's continue.
In a baby stroller. It was shown to the jury Thursday at the second-degree murder trial for cousins. Prosecutors allege she was captured on surveillance video at the Children's Aid Society building on Isabella Street on December 2nd, 2023. Taking Quintani into the washroom before assaulting him. The jury has heard cousins Emily arrived at the CAS building earlier in the day for a supervised visit with her own son and brought Quintani, whom she was looking after for the weekend.
That's the victim. So did you hear what the news said? She had a visitation rights to go see her own baby, but she was allowed to babysit this precious stone. She was able to babysit this baby while her baby is in custody. I believe there's going to be amendment to the law. I believe Children's Aid is going to come up with these kind of rules and regulation that when you have a serious crime case with Children's Aid and you have to have a supervised visit, you're not supposed to be babysitting nobody else's child. I would think. I don't know, but nevertheless.
Paramedics were called to the apartment on Dawes Road where cousins Emily lived the following day after Quintani lost consciousness. An autopsy revealed the cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. A security guard who was working at the CAS on the day of the alleged assault testified when he first saw cousins Emily inside the building around 4:45 p.m. She was asking for a blanket. He said he noticed a child sitting in a stroller whose face was fully covered and said Emily Cousins told him her name and said the child was named Quinn. The security guard testified when he came back from looking for a blanket, he saw cousins Emily and Quinn coming out of the washroom for the second time. He said he noticed the boy was not wearing pants and saw an injury on the boy's forehead. It was like a circle. The blood was not coming out. Crown, what happened next? I asked her what happened to the child. She told me that outside of the building he was playing with another kid and then got hurt. Did the injury you saw concern you? Yes, that's why I asked her if she needed first aid or the ambulance, and she said no. The security guard said after cousins Emily left the building with Quinn, he began writing a report and went inside the women's washroom where he found blood that appeared to have been cleaned up in the accessible stall. He took these photographs for his report. The security guard testified cousins Emily returned to the CAS building around 5:45 p.m. for the third time looking for a blanket again, but he did not let her in. During cross-examination, the guard said he did not notice that cousins Emily was not wearing pants. Earlier, around 3:30, she was captured on video walking into the washroom wearing pants. The guard said he did not believe cousins Emily was impaired nor suffering from mental health issues, saying she was speaking fine.
Okay, then, bam. So you hear the question I asked you guys? Is it possible perhaps she was troubling with mental illness? Because who comes out nowadays days with no pants? But like I tell you, you have people coming from the gym, no pants. You have people run out in and out their car with just t-shirts. And my thing again is she came back to the Children Aids building 3 times. So is that a sane person? The first time she was there for a right reason. She was visiting her own child that was in custody. Second time she came back to the building. Third time you come back to the building. Wow. Seriously. So something is wrong somewhere. So is it, okay, she was in the washroom for a long time. Is it possible when she was taking off the child pants, the child fell in the washroom? I'm not making any excuses, people. I'm only asking. Is it perhaps that because she already have a children aid situation file, her child already taken from her, she has to come and do visitation rights with the children aids. So maybe if she went in if the child fell in the washroom, it was hard for her to come and say anything to the security guard when he asked, do you need an ambulance? Do you need any help? Maybe she was scared out of her wit to know, say, because her child is in children aids, maybe her friend baby would be taken away too because he fell in the washroom. People are scared, you know. People who have children aids file usually scared of children aid and even scared of what would happen to their child if they report it to children aids. So did the child fell in the washroom? The child was in the washroom for almost an hour. They come back now, said that the child died from a blunt force trauma. The security guard noted that the child had a big, a big bump on his head. This is the child. The child had a big bump on his head, and he asked her what happened, and he documented it. Not only that, he said he went in the washroom and found blood. So is it blood from the child's mouth? Because he claimed the bump on his head was a circle and it wasn't bleeding. So did the blood come from the child's mouth? Or the blood came from Emily? Maybe possible was on her menstruation. I don't know. Or that blood was there before. Not only that, was the security guard right enough to go in the woman's washroom that he's not supposed to? And the security guard, how does the security guard know that there was nobody else in the washroom? All of these things. So the security guard noticed that that lady came to the building 3 times. The only time she had to was really concrete for her to be there was the first time when she had to go and have supervised visit with her own son. But the second time and the third time, I find that very strange and odd. And not only that, you'll be coming back to a building twice just to look for a blanket. Yes, we know at times our child have a...
He had never had a conversation with her before.
We know at times our children have more than one blanket. And we know at times our children have one blanket that's their favorite blanket. No matter how you try to wash it, no matter how you try to take it away, you have to take away that blanket when they're sleeping because they're so attached to the blanket or the beer or the sippy cup or the bottle or the soother or all of these things. But to return to a building twice asking for a blanket, I find that odd and strange. So perhaps she had some mental situation. Perhaps the baby fell and she was freaking out, had anxiety and all of that. So she wasn't thinking clear. And not only that, is it because she had to go to the Children Aids building to go see the worker and her baby? She maybe had butterflies, anxiety and issues. Because Children Aids is almost like a police, right? Remember, they work hand in hand. Back in the days, Children Aids used to come to black folks' home and indigenous home with the police. And you had no choice then to give up your child. So what occurred, people? What was in Emily's mind that day to hurt that child, allegedly? It's now in trial. She's on trial for second-degree murder, for hurting the baby, blunt force trauma. The crime occurred, they claim, at the Children Aids building. This is the victim. Died, gone too soon from blunt force trauma. Not only that, the security guard added many notes, a lot of notes, but still failed to call the police and still failed to call one of the workers upstairs. Not only that, I'm assuming that the security guard only can do so much. But once you went in the washroom to play police, detective, then you should have called the police. Then you should have called the worker. Because maybe the baby could have saved. Maybe the baby with the blunt force trauma that he had internal bleeding. Or maybe perhaps allegedly he was beaten some more when he left and went to Dawes Road. Because if you guys are saying that this woman is wicked and the woman beat this child on camera basically, well, off camera in a government building, then what would this woman do when no one is not looking in her apartment, that there's no other child or no other witness? So it's a sad case, people, but I'm not lost. I'm lost, but I'm not surprised.
Cousins Emily has pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder. Catherine McDonald, Global News.
All right, guys.
I chose this path.
So that is the story that I had to come and unpack with you guys and say, guys, have you guys heard this case? This is the case of disturbing situation, guys. And I think it's a lack of judgment when it comes to the mom giving her child to babysit. I think nowadays days, when it comes to friends, yes, you can have a friend, but at times you have to be careful who you leave your children with. Right? We got to be mindful who we leave our children with. And if you know that your friend has a children aid situation, I think it's best to guide her in the right way to see if she could get back her child, but not to leave her with your child, to be honest. Right? So let's go in the story one more time, okay?
This is video of Chardonnay Cousins Emily pushing her close friend's 3-year-old child, Iverson Balot Jr., also known as Quintani or Quinn, in a baby stroller. It was shown to the jury Thursday at the second-degree murder trial for Cousins Emily. Prosecutors allege she was captured on surveillance video at the Children's Aid Society building on Isabella Street on December 2nd, 2023, taking Quintani into the washroom before assaulting him. The jury has heard Cousins Emily arrived at the CAS building earlier in the day for a supervised visit with her own son and brought Quintani, whom she was looking after for the weekend. Paramedics were called to the apartment on Dawes Road where Cousins Emily lived the following day after Quintani lost consciousness. An autopsy revealed the cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. A security guard who was working at the CAS on the day of the alleged assault testified when he first saw Cousins Emily inside the building around 4:45 p.m., she was asking for a blanket. He said he noticed a child sitting in a stroller whose face was fully covered and said Emily Cousins told him her name and said the child was named Quinn. The security guard testified when he came back from looking for a blanket, he saw Cousins Emily and Quinn coming out of the washroom for the second time. He said he noticed the boy was not wearing pants and saw an injury on the boy's forehead.
But what I'm disturbed, she was in the washroom for so long. If somebody gonna hit a baby, 3 years old toddler baby in his head, wouldn't he not scream out in the washroom? So is it perhaps he did fell outside when he was playing with the children? Because if she's beating the child in the washroom, guys, one hit, or knock his head against the wall, or pick him up by the feet and hit his head on the floor, wouldn't he not scream out? Wouldn't he not be crying? And the security guard never heard no screaming, no crying in the washroom. So how is she in the washroom giving him a blunt force trauma and you never heard a ooh, ah, ee? You never heard nothing. So is this little girl innocent? Is she innocent? Is it perhaps he really fell outside? And if he fell in the washroom, you would have still heard he cried out. And from you see her go in the washroom and come out with no pants, it's perhaps she was on her menstruation and the whole of the pants mess up. That's why she don't have no clothes. Because you have a lot of women at times, them things come down on them, especially when there's anxiety and there's issue and stress. Maybe sometime you're supposed to see your menstruation, maybe say the 25th, and because you're so stressed out, you come on the 20th. Sometimes people are not prepared for that. Sometimes people not wearing a panty liner, people not have extra things in them bag. And a children aids building supposed to equip with pad and all of these things. Even a blanket that she's been asking for. So if she was in the washroom, giving that child blunt force trauma, wouldn't he not scream out and cry? He's a child, he's 3. So what did she do? Beat him and cover his mouth? So perhaps he maybe got hurt outside, the way I see it. Because if you're going to hit a child once, the child is crying out. If you hold on to the child's mouth when the child come out there, him still a cry. So what did the security guard? Said he saw a bump on the baby. Said first he said that the baby was covered up, couldn't see only his feet. Then he come back and say he saw the bump on the baby head, but the bump on the baby's head wasn't bleeding. And he never said he saw the baby crying, or the baby looked like he was crying, or the baby was upset. So is it possible what the girl said? The baby fell outside and she never took it serious? Because a lot of time a baby will fall, have a bump, and have internal bleeding. So I think the neglect would be if he fell outside, she never went to go get care. She never bring him to the walk-in clinic. She never brought him to the hospital. So you would charge her for neglect. But 2nd-degree murder, I don't know. Because the camera doesn't show that she beat the child. She was in when she went in the washroom. The camera showed that the child, the security guard claimed,
it was
right?
like a circle. The blood was not coming out.
Listen.
What happened next? I asked her what happened to the child. She told me that outside of the building, he was playing with another kid and then got hurt.
What did I say? So that's her excuse. And she pled not guilty. So I'm asking you, if you go in the washroom and stay an hour in the washroom with the child and hailing the child, once, wouldn't the child scream out? What did she do? Duct tape the baby in the stall? So we never heard that the baby cry out. 2nd time she went in the washroom, we never heard that the baby is crying out. So if you hit a baby in the washroom that he has blunt force trauma, doesn't the baby would cry out? Isn't the baby should cry? Why wasn't baby? The baby was crying. So I saw the baby tough, that the baby get a hit like that in his head, kill him the next day, and he never cry out? Babies usually cry, especially when they're 3. He's a baby, he's 3, he's a toddler, 3 years old. So did the Crown charge the case too much? Because if this girl went in the washroom and give the baby blunt force trauma, then how come it's 2nd-degree murder? It's supposed to be 1st-degree murder. So I believe you guys don't know exactly what happened to this baby and you guys just charged the case, allegedly. I think because you guys even weigh the fact that her child is in children in custody. So you guys are thinking, okay, because her child is in children in custody, she should be neglected. She should be a worthless mother. Can't take care of her own child. Possible out here struggling in the system. So make we pin a charge on her of assaulting the baby. I don't know. I don't know about that. But the way I see it, if a baby is being assaulted in a government building, wouldn't the baby cry out? She was in the washroom for an hour with the baby. The baby never made a he, I ain't, nothing. When she came out talking to the security guard, the baby is not crying. So maybe the baby fell outside. Seriously. And she never asked, when the security guard asked her she needed help, she said no, because a lot of moms feel like when the baby get under the bump, oh, it's nothing, he'll be okay. But old-time folks will go mix sweet sugar and water to give it to that child. Because they say that will stop the internal bleeding, that will stop from the baby to have further injury. So perhaps he could charge her for neglect because she didn't go and seek medical attention with that big bump on the baby's head, perhaps. But second-degree murder, and we never heard the baby crying out in the washroom, not once but twice? I don't know, Crown. I don't know, man.
The injury you saw concern you? Yes, that's why I asked her if she needed first aid or the ambulance, and she said no. The security guard said after Cousins Emily left the building with Quinn, he began writing a report and went inside the women's washroom where he found blood that appeared to have been cleaned up in the accessible stall. He took these photographs for his report. The security guard testified Cousins Emily returned to the CAS building around 5:45 p.m. for the third time looking for a blanket again, but he did not let her in. During cross-examination, the guard said he did not notice that Cousins Emily was not wearing pants.
And she's
Earlier,
not.
around 3:30, she was captured on video walking into the washroom wearing pants. The guard said he...
So she came back in winter, in December, not wearing no pants. So did she drive? And when she came back, where was the baby? Remember, she was a babysitter for the weekend. Her friend that she met in children's aid at the age of 12 gave her the child for the weekend to watch. I wonder what the friend was doing. Working, party, man, what? I wouldn't leave my friend with my child if she has a children's aid case still, to be honest. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I think it's poor judgment on the mom's side. But I think the mom trusted the friend knowing that, you know what, we grew up in children's aids. We have our own trauma. We got out of children's aids. We're adult. You have a son. I have a son. We play together. So just watch my little baby for the weekend now. And the friend is like, yeah, I'll watch the kid. Did the mom even knew that her friend had visitation rights that weekend? I am not sure. Because here your friend going to go get visitation rights with her child, secured visitation rights, supervised visitation rights, and then you allowed her to tag your baby along. I find that odd and strange. Poor judgment. But I guess when you trust a friend, you trust a friend. But how far do you guys trust your friend?
Did not believe Cousins Emily was impaired nor suffering from mental health issues, saying she was speaking fine, but acknowledged he had never had a conversation with her before. Cousins Emily has pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder. Catherine McDonald, Global News.
So if you were the prosecutor, would you have charged her with second-degree murder, or you would charge her with first-degree murder? If you claim she went in the washroom and the child died from blunt force trauma, why did you charge her with second-degree murder? Second-degree murder, that means that you guys are jumping for straw, I would think. Because you have her on camera going in the washroom twice. The baby was in her custody. It's not her baby. Her baby is already in children's aid custody. And her friend has her baby in real life, and she was babysitting that baby, knowing that she has a child in children's aid, knowing that she's going for visitation, supervised visitation for her own son. So you basically caught her red-handed. Basically, the only thing you couldn't see that she beat the baby in the washroom, allegedly. So why charge her with second-degree murder and not first degree if you claim she's the one who beat this baby blunt force trauma? So I hope she has a good lawyer. I hope the lawyer is not coming off of mental illness either to talk about this girl is mentally ill either. Because if that's the case, then children's aids fail her. That's the case, children's aids had her in the custody, had that girl who's on the murder case in custody until she was about 17, 18. She met this little boy's mother in children's aids, in foster care. So a lot of times when children aids apprehend the black children or apprehend these kids out here, they don't give them sufficient counseling that they need, allegedly. They fall through the crack. Sometimes they don't even finish school. Yes? Sometimes they don't even finish school. So here's a girl that grew up in children aids, maybe grew up with trauma, maybe foster hopping, foster hopping, foster hopping. Because you know, when it comes to some of these kids, once you backtalk your foster mom don't look like you. Oh, she has a behavior problem. Zoop, transfer her. She gone to another home. Oh, she has a behavior problem. Oh, she's running away from school. Zoop, and she gone to a different home. We know the case when it comes to children aids and the black children, man. So what trauma Emily had? Going through children aids, what help did Emily got? Why did Emily where or was the custody of children aids? What did Emily mom did to Emily? Why Emily was taken from her mom, living children aids until she was released to have her own child, till her own child end up in children aids. But we know children aids is a cycle, and we know that most of these institutes are money cycle institution on people's children and downfall on people's lives. We get it, we know that. So Emily grew up in children aids and have these underlying problem that she would beat a baby and give him blunt force trauma. Obviously, she never got any help if she have these kind of anger. And if her child is taken away from her, apprehended from her, why did you guys take away her child? For neglect or abuse? And if her own child was in children aid custody for abuse, then neglect on the real mother of this boy, because you know your friend baby got taken away because of an abuse, and you end up leaving your baby with her. So I would say liberty come through carelessness if that's the case. But all of these things are alleged, people, allegedly, because the trial, this case happened December 2023. And you know, in many countries, it's 2 years before you get to trial. Depends on the caseload. So right now, guys, it's in trial, and she's charged with second-degree murder, this girl. This girl grew up in children aids. This girl met this baby mother in children aids at the age of 12. They were both children aids, Peggy, both children aids, Crown Ward, both children aid in children aid custody. Grew out of children aids, end up having their own babies, end up still being friends till the mother left Emily with the baby that weekend. Emily brought the baby to Children Aid's building to get her visitation rights for her own child, and went to the washroom, and they claim that she gave the baby blunt force trauma in the washroom. So the question becomes, there's the security guard, there's the camera, but we never heard the baby scream out in the washroom. So how can she give the baby that kind of trauma in the washroom and the baby didn't cry out? That's the only thing that's puzzling me, people. And even if she hold on to the baby mouth in the washroom for the hour that she was in the washroom, and she went in the washroom twice, security guard cannot tell us that the baby was crying twice. So possible the baby fell in the washroom, but if the baby fell in the washroom, wouldn't we not hear the baby crying? So possible the baby never got hurt outside either. Because we would like to see the outside camera as well if the baby was crying and if the baby fell. Is it perhaps that the baby fell in the washroom and she panicked because she already have a children aids file? Because her friend grew up in children aids, did she panic that she didn't want to tell the security guard to go get help because she's afraid that they wouldn't make her see her own baby again? Or she was afraid that they would have take away her friend baby that she's watching? I am not sure, folks. Many questions there to be answered. Anyways, I'm going to jump off of this live because I got to run. Let's go to some other things in my phone. So we're going to backtrack the story. So this is the perpetrator that they claim allegedly on trial for harming the baby, blunt force trauma. This is the day that they want to say it happened. The baby ended up dying a day after because he wasn't breathing. Ambulance came to her apartment. Remember, you know, the security guard saw blood, saw a bruise on the baby, never called the police, never told the children aides, nothing of that sort, and she was able to go back at home with her friend baby. Quick and fast. My question is again, when you let your friend babysit your child, don't you guys have FaceTime? You don't say, friend, let me see the baby. Can I see my baby friend? So what did the friend do? Oh, Emily. Oh, how's the baby? Oh, Emily be like, oh, the baby's fine, man. The baby's fine. Okay, I'll come pick up the baby on Sunday. Are that gone? When you guys leave your children to people, you guys don't say, let me see the baby on the phone? Nobody don't FaceTime and say, let me talk to my son or my daughter? Nothing, because if the mom did see the baby that day, on the FaceTime, the mom could have determined that there was something wrong with the baby and go take the baby from Emily. So the question become, the biological mom, were you going to a party? Were you going out on a date? Were you going to work? Why you would leave your baby in the custody of Emily, knowing that Emily don't have custody of her own child? And do you know why they apprehend Emily's child? Is it for neglect, leaving the child in the home by himself and go party? Or is it because of beating, abuse? Or starvation, or not feeding the child? Or the well-being of the child? Why was your friend baby taken that she has to have supervised visit? And why did you trust your friend enough to give her your child knowing that she doesn't have custody of her child? Let me tell you something. You have some people out here, that don't have custody of their child, don't want to be a mother, but want to tell you how to be a mother. So you have people like that out here. Okay, and then you have women out here can't have children, and they will take care of your children the best of the best that they can. And then you have mothers again out here that don't take care of their children, but the children will go to the stepmother, and the stepmother play a bigger role than the biological mother. All right? And then you have your own mom, and children aides take you away, and you end up at the foster care, and foster mom take care of you better than your biological mother. So the question I want to ask, why was Emily taken away until she grew up in children aides? This Emily, why did her mother lose custody over her until she grew up in children aides and came out of children aides? And what trauma poor Emily went through, going through this group home to group home to group home to foster mom to foster mom to foster mom to foster mom. What is her story? Why now she's accused of murder? Why now she's accused of losing custody of her child? The day when she went to go get a supervised visit, that day in that building, what was her mind? What was going through her mind? Did she have a clear mind that day? Because everybody know when it comes to children aides, they panic. Children aides and police work hand in hand. Children aides is almost like police. Because back in the days when children aides are going to black folks' home, indigenous home, the police is standing right there. So what was in her mind? And the blood that the security guard saw in the washroom, perhaps, was she on her menstruation because she took off her pants? Was that blood from that child trauma? Remember, the security guard said he saw the bump on the baby's head, but the baby head wasn't bleeding. No blood was coming out. So did that blood come out of his mouth, or the blood came out of Emily while she was on her menstruation? Remember again, your menstruation will be coming on the 25th. And because you're going to children aides, and children is coming like police, one mistake, you won't have no visitation rights. Maybe her menstruation come down on her, because a lot of women, when they're stressed out, menstruation come down right away on you, even when you don't notice that. Stress can bring down your menstruation, and stress can delay your menstruation. Everybody know that. So I'm not picking up for her. But my thing is, as if I was the lawyer, did you hear the baby cry out? Did you see the baby in any distress? And not only that, the security guard claimed the first time he saw the baby was covered up from head to toe. The baby was covered up. I don't want to tell lie. 1 second. Let's go back here for a second. Hold on. Let me go back to the story for a second. One second. All right, let's go back to the article. The security guard said he never saw the baby's face. But 1 minute he said he saw the baby face. So which one is it? Hold on 1 second. Let's go to the inquiry. So on Isabella Street, that was the Children Aid Society. Emily about, okay, so all right, so the security testified on trial that the injury he observed on the boy who was with her that day. All right, I'm gonna give you guys a second. I'm gonna show you guys what I'm trying to show you. Give me a second. 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Is it all the way up? Hold on. Nope, it's not all the way up. All right, right here. 1 second, guys. Give me a second. All right, boom. Look. The security guard testified the child was with her, but he was fully covered. He was in a baby stroller, said Singh. The baby face was covered, but I could see his legs. So if you're the lawyer, remember you claim you saw a trauma on the boy's head. Now you claim that he was fully covered. The baby face was covered. So if the baby face was covered, then how did you see the bump? Did you see the bump the first time, the second time, or the third time? Because the third time in the camera, guys, we never saw the baby when she came back with no pants. So which one is it? Did you see the bump or you never saw a bump? Because remember, baby face was covered, but I could see his legs. Moving on, keep on going down onto this. Then Singh said, testify he noticed an injury on the boy's forehead. So when did you notice the boy's forehead? I thought he was covered up. All them things. So is it going to end up in a hung jury, guys? Or they're going to find her guilty of blunt force trauma and this innocent 3-year-old child? Because 1 minute security guard claims the baby face cover up and next minute him saw a bump. Which one is it? And then he claimed that the bump is a circle bump and no blood is not coming out of it. So where did the blood come from when he went to go fast in the washroom or to go be nosy in the washroom? From her on her menstruation, I think, or from the baby's mouth? Because if the bump is not bleeding, then obviously it would have to come out of his mouth. Usually when you get significant hurt from the head, usually you will bleed through the nose or the mouth. Okay? So where did the blood come from? So the blood couldn't come from the baby. The blood would have to maybe come from that girl who took off her pants and maybe on her menstruation because she have anxiety and all kind of problem in a children's AIDS building. Everybody know when it comes to children aid, them worse than police. Remember I tell you guys this. But I'm not her lawyer. I'm not picking up for her. But I find it odd and strange. 1 minute you saw the trauma, the next minute you didn't. The baby was covered up. And if she went in the washroom and beat the baby, how come the baby didn't bawl out? Remember when a baby get hurt, them not done, them not stop. And when you say hush, 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 and when you put the soother in their mouth, hush, 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 no, them not done. When baby's feeling pain, baby don't done, baby don't done, baby don't done. Not only that, I want to hear from the neighbors in the building if the baby was crying all night because girl was allowed to leave with blood in the washroom stall. Girl was allowed to leave without no blanket. Baby foot was naked in winter. Girl was allowed to leave the children's AIDS building with no blanket. She not have on no pants, nothing of that. And security guard never do his job. His job was only to be nosy in the women's washroom where he don't belong. So the security guard should have called the police that day if he was so concerned. But a lot of times people see us in the public as in that color and don't give a shit. We just document shit. And when things come up, we say, yeah, on that day, we'll be under we will be under camera. People be watching us. But as soon as something happened in the public, you hear they say, oh, but I did see her in that shirt. And I did see. But nobody reached out for help. Nobody cared to help that day. So you saw a big trauma on the boy's head. You never fought. You asked her she needed help and you said no. That's a children's AIDS building. Once you saw that, you should have flagged her. And if you went to go document that in your notes that day, then there was a raise of concern. Why you never go get the children's AIDS? So remember, coming in children's AIDS building, you gotta write down your name in the building. I would think it's a government building. Anybody could come in there to come thief babies and kids. Remember, that's a place where you get supervised visit when you don't have no custody of your child. In children's AIDS building. So why he never flagged the worker and said, worker, you know that girl, Quinn? You know that girl? She came in here with Quinn. And then you guys could have rewind the camera. Yeah, the baby had a blunt force trauma and she was acting strange. And when I went in the washroom, I saw blood. Go and call her and ask her what happened. Then the worker maybe would have pick up the phone. Emily, you know you don't have custody of your child. Whose baby is that? We get to understand that the baby has a bump. Is the mama aware that you have the child? Is the mama aware that the baby's hurt? Then they could have go from there. Maybe the baby would have saved with an ambulance that day. So possible with the blunt force trauma the baby had an internal bleeding. Stop breathing. So if she can beat the baby in the washroom, allegedly, then possible when she went to her apartment, Dawes Road, she beat the baby some more? Is that what you guys are saying? Because I find it odd that she beat the baby in the washroom, blunt force trauma, to his head, and he never screamed out in the washroom. He ended up coming back out in the stroller, sitting up till the security guard could see his leg, but never heard the baby or crying. So I saw the baby tough. I saw the baby hard like rock that somebody could give him one good lick in the washroom. And he come out just sit up in the stroller? Really? And you see that the mom is acting strange by covering up the baby. Till you end up seeing, under the cover, you end up seeing the bump on the baby's head. So I want to know when the baby was covered and when the baby wasn't covered. I'm confused. But this is going to continue to play out. And when it fully play out, guys, I will come back with the verdict. But to me, either the baby got hurt playing outside. I don't think the baby got hurt in the washroom because the security guard never said that he saw any blood coming out the baby ears, eyes, nose, or mouth. Never heard the baby crying. So how could somebody beat somebody in the washroom and you never heard the baby crying? Is it possible that the baby got hurt from her apartment and she brought the baby there that day? Maybe the baby got hurt for a couple of days way before she came there. Her excuse was she was outside playing with someone and the baby got hurt. I never brought the baby to the doctor or the walking clinic or the hospital because when girls don't have custody of their children, more time they don't know how to look after kids. That's why you don't leave them with your children. She don't have custody of her child. So what she care about for bringing that child to the walking clinic? She don't have custody of her child. So what would she care to bring your own baby that you leave with her and trust her enough with your child? Nowadays days, you don't trust people with your life or your kids, man. Remember, I tell you this. You don't trust people with your children. People who have issues in this society, yes, you can feel sorry for them, empathy and sympathy, but you don't trust them as far as you throw them. I have friend. You think I trust my friend? She maybe hear what I said. You think I tell him every time. You think I trust them as far as I throw them? Seriously. Who nowadays is out here talk about them trust friend 100%? Who? In this time and time, in this day and age, in this time where people, you can't trust people, where people wicked, you can't trust people cold-heartedly, not even yourself. So trusting a friend because you claim so your friend is this and that. Nah, bro. Nah. Nah. You understand what I'm saying? And I could use myself as an example. There was a situation that occurred where somebody had the same situation and come give me their baby. And years later, they want to kill me. And I save them. Because there was a situation where they had children aids and the person pick up the phone and call me, please, can you hold my baby? Children aids is here. And I went to go get that child. And years later, them gang up and team up, ready to kill me. They don't remember all the help that they got. Remember, I tell you this. So if you have a friend with children aid situation, eager them, usher them to do all the programs so they could get back their children. And if you know your friend has a baby in custody that they have to supervise visit, then that's not the friend you leave your dog with. I'm just saying, kiss me teeth and pass. Our heart and soul goes out to the baby boy. All right? Gone too soon, look how nice. Gone too soon. What a tragedy happened at Children AIDS building. And what a tragedy happened to Emily. And what underlying problem Emily had while she was in Children AIDS custody. What occurred to Emily, why Emily mother lose her in the custody of Children AIDS till her child end up in Children Aid as a stigma, as a curse, as a continuation of curses where my mom lose me in a Children Aids and me end up losing my child in a Children Aids. That makes sense for me. But it's a revolving door in the black community if we're not careful with our children. And it's a revolving door in our community when Children Aids come and don't have nothing on empathy and sympathy when they come to our children. So let's go to facts checks for a minute. Back in the days, Children Aids used to plague the black community. And I'm going to give you guys that facts and I'm going to jump off of this, all right? Because I talk enough and I'm not going to show you guys everything else because I got to run. I'm running late. 1 second. Hold on. I'm going to give you guys what occur here when it comes to children AIDS. Yes? 1 second. I'm going to show you guys that children AIDS is not easy when it comes to the black community. We're going to get to that. So I came and I showed you guys that in the first place. And I said to you guys, when it comes to the black community, significant overrepresentation of black children in children AIDS and foster care. It's a money-making institution. So drop it here. I'm giving you guys a facts check because I don't want you guys to think I'm picking up for this girl. So see it here. This case is in Canada. So this is the problem when it comes to children AIDS and black families. Your children is more to be taken out of the house, especially if you have a Caribbean background and African background. Read with me, guys. I don't need to read it all. It's here. All right, guys? The anti-black racism in children AIDS. And all of these things when them gone and take away your kids them. So we know Emily go through a lot while she was in children AIDS. And we know Emily mother maybe fought hard. But when you fight children AIDS, most of the time, if you're too late, they end up in crown ward and custody ward of children AIDS and you can't get them back until Emily reach 18. So we know Emily go through her own ordeal in children AIDS in foster care as a black child. Sometimes nobody wants to adopt you. Sometimes no foster man wants to take you because of your color and because of your behavior at times. So what happened to Emily while she was in children AIDS custody? The children AIDS dropped the ball of not giving her and seeking the help that she needed. Because for you to beat a child with blunt force trauma, don't seek any help. Don't go to the doctor. No medical help. Something is going on within your mind there. Something wrong. Something is wrong. So to go send her away now in prison for life, a second-degree murder, it's not a good look. The girl need help and I'm not picking up for her. Kiss me teeth and pass. Let's run on. Let's run on and let's run on. Let's run on and let's run on. Let's talk about some other things. So I think we're here. Colombia warlord sentenced to 40 years in prison after serving time for drug trafficking in the U.S. Running on. Kiss me teeth and pass. Oh God, Maitland is on the verge. And the lawyer is basically saying, if my client know about the murder, doesn't mean he did the murder. So the lawyer basically may be saying that it's the baby mother did the murder, allegedly, and Maitland did know about it, so honor him do it. Is this going to be a hung jury? Are they going to find him guilty of accessory to the fact? Or what would be the story when it comes to Maitland and that case? Moving on, kiss me teeth on pass. So we said, Popcorn and the girl me love named Tony on gold, them claim. Popcorn and Tony and sing. Certified go in a Canadian thing. Yes, Popcorn, go on with yourself. Cause you have some good song where girl can roll her hip and roll her hip and roll her hip and roll. Seriously, kiss me teeth and pass. From there, guys, wrapping up this live. Seriously, but guys, nevertheless, wrapping up this live. Remember, this case is about this case here. Emily is on second-degree murder at the Children AIDS building of blunt force trauma to the 3-year-old. This is where they claim that the crime happened at the Children AIDS building. This is your little young boy, 3 years old, gone too soon, died too soon, and all of these things. Who is the key witness? The security guard. So we were talking about murder at the first, second degree at Children AIDS building. Not only that, guys, we also talk about the significant and the racism that goes on in children AIDS. And I had to give you guys the facts and facts check to tell you guys racism there with children AIDS. So maybe Emily never lost her child because of nothing. It's just a racism in children AIDS. Take the kids, make all kind of money, allegedly. Maybe the mother of Emily lost her in custody because, again, a Caribbean background. Most of the time, it doesn't work out with them in the system and society with the racism and the overhaul of the black children in custody and the indigenous children. So we had to come and unpack that and give you guys facts and receipt to say, hey, children isn't easy when it comes to the black culture. Right there. So we also impact that as well. All right, guys? We also spoke about... 1 second. We also spoke about this Colombia warlord gets sentenced 40 years. We also talk about Maitland. Give me a second. 1 second. We also talk about Maiden trial, killing that girl. That girl that everybody know, Donnelly situation. The mom keep on fighting and fighting, fighting. Let's see what happened. Until now, they can't find Donnelly body. Donnelly body lost somewhere and nobody know. And Maitland not talking. And Maitland claims that that was the girlfriend. They said the worst enemy you could have is the one where you sleep with. Be mindful. Yeah. Not only that, guy, we also talk about Tony and sing. Din 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 din. Dun, 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 dun. Simple and finally. So guys, remember the case that we was really talking about out here, to be honest, guys, is the case of the children aid situation. And I'm going to revamp it one more time so you guys know that we're on the ground with this case. When there's anything a pen out in this case, I'm going to come back and say, guys, they found her guilty or not guilty and all of that sort. So we're on the case like midnight. So let's revamp the case one more time. I'm going to hop off of this. Thank you for watching.
This is video of Chardonnay cousins Emily pushing her close friend's 3-year-old child, Iverson Ballot Jr., also known as Quintani or Quinn, in a baby stroller. It was shown to the jury Thursday at the second-degree murder trial for cousins Emily. Prosecutors allege she was captured on surveillance video at the Children's Aid Society building on Isabella Street on December 2nd, 2023, taking Quintani into the washroom before assaulting him. The jury has heard cousins Emily arrived at the CAS building earlier in the day.
So she pled not guilty and the camera doesn't show in the washroom. You guys say she assaulted him. We know that, forensic and all of that will come and say it's a blunt force trauma. Okay. But when did she commit that trauma? Way before she came there. Couldn't be in the washroom. Because the security guard never saw no blood coming out of the baby's mouth or anything of that sort. So I don't know where she hurt the baby guy. But anyways, it is alleged.
Her own son and brought Quintani, whom she was looking after, for the weekend. Paramedics were called to the apartment on Dawes Road where cousins Emily lived the following day after Quintani lost consciousness. An autopsy revealed the cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. A security guard who was working at the CAS on the day of the alleged assault testified when he first saw cousins Emily inside the building around 4:45 p.m. she was asking for a blanket. He said he noticed a child sitting in a stroller whose face was fully covered and said Emily Cousins told him her name and said the child was named Quinn.
So if the baby face was fully covered, again, like I said, people, how did he see that bump? These are the things that me I talk about. Security guard, oh, might make the woman walk, oh.
The security guard testified when he came back from looking for a blanket, he saw cousins Emily and Quinn coming out of the washroom for the second time. He said he noticed the boy was not wearing pants and saw an injury on the boy's forehead. It was like a...
So it's the second time when she come out. So at the second time she go beat him in there? Oh. Let's continue.
Circle, the blood was not coming out. Crown, what happened next? I asked her what happened to the child outside the building. He was playing with another kid and then got hurt. Did the injury you saw concern you? Yes, that's why I asked her if she needed first aid or the ambulance, and she said no. The security guard said after cousins Emily left the building with Quinn, he began writing a report and went inside the women's washroom where he found blood that appeared to have been cleaned up in the accessible stall. He took these photographs for his report. The security guard testified cousins Emily returned to the CAS building around 5:45 p.m. for the third time looking for a blanket again, but he did not let her in. During cross-examination, the guard said he did not notice that cousins Emily was not wearing pants. Earlier, around 3:30, she was captured on video walking into the washroom wearing pants. The guard said he did not believe cousins Emily was impaired nor suffering from mental health issues, saying she was speaking fine, but acknowledged he had never had a conversation with her before. Cousins Emily has pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder. Catherine McDonald.
So she really did kill the little boy. And she went in the washroom to do that brutal crime. Why would it be second-degree murder? I don't know, man. But that's what I had to come and unpack with you guys today, guys, and say greatly, guys. It's troubling and disturbing. But what can we say? Let the little boy's soul rest in peace. Hopefully, Emily get the help that she needs and stuff like that. Hopefully she gets the help that she needs and stuff like that, guys. And at the end of the day, when you really think about it, it's really hard out here. Mental illness is plaguing the Black community a lot and all of those things. And at the end of the day, we don't know what she suffers. But like I said, living in children aids all your life, you would suffer a lot as a Black folks or anybody else, because you go through a lot, allegedly. Nevertheless, people, just remember everything we talk about in this case. It's allegedly. And at the end of the day, remember, she's on trial. So as soon as they find her guilty, or not, as soon as they find her guilty or not guilty, I will come with the verdict. But right now we have to say allegedly, because she has to have a fair trial and everybody's innocent until they're proven guilty. Okay, guys? Until I catch you guys another time, happy Thursday. Peace and love.